Action News, Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Dave Frankel, Rick Williams, and Monica Malpass.
Good afternoon. In the news, Pennsylvania officials cracked down on a daycare center for allegedly closing up with a 9-month-old inside it.
Opening arguments are set in the trial of a man accused of killing Michael Jordan's father. And the government stalemate continues, but that will not mean relief for taxpayers.
But the big story on Action News this noon is the Delaware Valley recovering from another icy blast from Mother Nature. A glaze of ice covered roads and sidewalks across the area this morning, making it hard just to walk to school. The ice is the result of a winter storm rolling across the country. Here in Harrisburg, the storm dumped a combination of several inches of snow and ice on the capital. Higher temperatures in the Delaware Valley meant that we didn't get any snow, but it was still cold enough to turn what much of the precipitation we did get into a dangerously thin layer of ice.
And that ice made for treacherous driving during the morning commute. The end result was a rash of accidents on area roadways. The biggest was this chain reaction pileup on the Roosevelt Boulevard in Germantown about 6:30 this morning. And you see the damage. A total of 15 cars slid into each other on the icy road between Wissahickon and Wayne Avenues. Luckily, no one was injured. Icy roads also played a part in a minor school bus wreck in Wynwood Lower Merion Township. No children were on board at the time. And in Chester County, 3 cars ended up on the side of the road after sliding on ice on Route 202 in East Whiteland. Minor injuries were reported here. No word on any serious injuries meantime in Haverford Township, Delaware County, after these 2 cars collided. All in all, a very treacherous drive for commuters this morning. And if it was a bad morning for commuters, it was a great morning for tow truck operators. They had a busy morning dealing with accidents like this one in Roxborough.
They wreck them, I hook them, and I get them fixed. That's all it takes.
Whether driving or walking, the hills of Roxborough are always tricky, and that was certainly the case this morning.
Action News reporter Nora Mushanek has been checking out this winter storm from some of the area's hardest hit regions, the northern suburbs. And she joins us live on the Action Cam with more. Nora.
Rick, the big danger in these parts didn't seem to be so much driving this morning. It was walking. A lot of the streets are still snow-covered, like the one you see behind me. And even though some of the ice has been cleared, getting around can still be treacherous. What a way to start a Wednesday. Chipping, picking, whacking, doing whatever it takes to clear cars and sidewalks from the coat of thick ice.
I came out this morning and started up to heat it up so it can get warm, then I came back out. So.
That's the trick to making it easier?
Yeah. Shovels, picks, everything. Salt.
And is it working?
Sort of.
The slippery conditions have made it a busy morning at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital at Hamilton.
Well, we've been very busy this morning with motor vehicle accidents. We've had a lot of patients who have fallen on the ice with back injuries, leg injuries, arm injuries.
Take their trash out, go get a loaf of bread, a quart of milk or whatever. And unfortunately in this weather, especially for the older folks who some of them can't walk as well as you and I can, they slip and fall and we get them. And they wind up here in the ER.
This 14-year-old was brought in by paramedics. He was riding his bike to school just 2 minutes from his house. How do you ride a bicycle on ice like this?
You don't, you fall. I didn't think there was ice on the ground, under the path where I was riding.
And who shows up at the same hospital? His mother, who turned her ankle last night, but not on the ice.
When I was sitting there registering, the ambulance brought my son in. He fell down on the ice at school.
What did you think when you saw your son coming in at the same time you were?
I couldn't believe it. It's unbelievable.
How's that for a family affair? Mom and son in the same emergency room. As I said, walking is the big problem now, and what you've really got to be careful for is even though the street may be clear, when you try to get up and over these snow mounds, they're covered with ice now, and you may break your neck trying to get to the sidewalk. So please be careful if you're walking. That's the latest from Trenton. I'm Nora Mushanek reporting live on the Action Cam. Now back to you.
All right, Nora, thank you. So how long are these icy conditions going to stick around? Well, let's go outside to David Murphy, who's in for Dave Frankel. He has some answers from AccuWeather. David.
Good news and bad news as far as the afternoon rush is concerned. Main highways should be pretty much okay. That's because the precipitation is moving out of the area and salt is going to work pretty well this afternoon. But those sidewalks that Nora was talking about and side streets, they're still going to be a mess, and we'll tell you why. First off, action radar. Precipitation now mostly in the order of snow in our area, and most of it has moved off toward New England. That's the heavy snowfall. That stuff out to the western portion of Pennsylvania is not really the accumulation medium variety, mostly just flurries there. It looks like the Poconos are going to wind up with maybe 6 to 10 inches of snow, depending on where you are out of this system, and it's mostly already on the ground. However, we're still in for an icy afternoon. Today's high is only going to get up to 34 degrees. We're going to be hovering around the freezing mark most of the day, and AccuWeather says that's not going to allow for very much melting of any of the ice, untreated ice, that's on sidewalks and side streets. And look at that. The afternoon rush hour, we're already going to be back down into the upper 20s. Tonight, we're getting even chillier still. When we come back inside, we're going to tell you about another potential problem on Friday morning. Sorry about that, Rick and Monica.
All right. Thank you, David. Well, that is our coverage of this icy winter storm. David will be back inside with the rest of the AccuWeather forecast for you in a few minutes. We'll also take a look at the snowy part of the storm that hit other parts of the country.
All right. Turning to other news this